Welcome to this explainer. So right on the shores of the Gulf of Finland, where centuries of deep Russian history literally collide with cutting-edge innovation, there's this massive glass giant that's risen up. We're talking about the Lakhta Center. And look, this isn't just another tall building to add to a list. This is the incredible story of how thousands of workers took what looked like an absolutely impossible vision and actually made it a reality.
Let's start with a number that's just staggering. 462. That's 462 meters tall. To put that into perspective, that officially makes it Russia's tallest building, and honestly, a totally dominant force on the modern European skyline. In fact, it's one of the tallest skyscrapers you'll find anywhere outside of Asia and North America. When you really think about that kind of height, you instantly get a sense of the sheer scale and ambition the planners had for this coastal masterpiece.
But to really grasp why hitting 462 meters is such a monumental deal, we gotta look at the context. Saint Petersburg isn't just any city. It was founded way back in 1703 by Peter the Great as Russia's elegant window to Europe. For centuries, the skyline was fiercely protected by super strict building regulations. Picture beautiful canals, low bridges, and a horizon defined almost exclusively by 18th century church spires and historic monuments. But, the 21st century arrived, bringing massive economic growth and technological advancement. Modern business needed advanced infrastructure, and a new, bold symbol of progress was required.
Planners specifically chose the coastal district of Lakhta, just northwest of the city center. It gave them the space they needed for a massive headquarters, while staying far enough away to minimize the impact on that protected historic skyline we just talked about. But, this location brought an immediate engineering headache. You're right on the coast, so how exactly do you construct a structure weighing hundreds of thousands of tons on highly unstable, water-saturated, muddy ground?
Which brings us to our first major hurdle: conquering the coastal ground.
You really have to wrap your head around the sheer volume of threats hidden right there in the earth. Engineers were up against soft sediments, completely waterlogged soils, seasonal freezing temperatures, brutal high winds, and just a generally harsh coastal environment by the Gulf. Traditional foundations? Yeah, entirely out of the question here. Every single calculation had to be absolutely flawless, because when you're battling extreme conditions like these, even the tiniest error could spell disaster for a megastructure this heavy.
So how'd they pull it off? They conquered the Earth using two incredibly ambitious steps, basically developing one of the most advanced foundation systems ever utilized in Russia. Step 1. They drove hundreds of deep piles straight down, we're talking way down, bypassing all that soft mud and anchoring directly into the stable geological layers hidden far beneath the surface. Then came Step 2, which was a record-breaking feat all on its own. They had to continuously pour a colossal concrete foundation over many, many hours without stopping, not even for a minute. It required absolute logistical perfection, relying on highly advanced concrete tech and specialized cranes working at some truly extraordinary heights.
Now that we're securely out of the mud, let's look up at designing the twisting giant.
The architects clearly didn't want just another rigid, boring, rectangular skyscraper. Instead, they designed the tower to dramatically twist approximately 90 degrees from its base all the way up to the top. Inspired by natural forms, this wild geometry is meant to symbolize energy, movement, and innovation. And because of that twist, the Lakhta Center has this dynamic appearance that literally shifts and changes from every single angle you view it from. Honestly, it makes the building look almost alive. But here's the thing. This twisting shape wasn't just for show. It presented a daunting engineering puzzle. Because it twists, every single section required uniquely customized glass components. Thousands of reflective panels had to be custom-built just to withstand those freezing Baltic winds. And this facade does some spectacular heavy lifting. It vastly improves energy efficiency, it maximizes natural light, and the reflective surface literally changes colors as the sun rises and sets. At night, a sophisticated lighting system turns the whole thing into a glowing beacon visible for miles.
Let's step behind that glass facade now for building a green vertical city.
The Lakhta Center actually achieved international recognition for its environmental technologies, completely proving that mega projects can still be deeply sustainable without sacrificing an ounce of functionality. Just check out these features. They've got intelligent climate control that drastically cuts down on energy consumption. They use comprehensive water conservation systems to minimize their environmental footprint. Plus, they installed highly advanced insulation to maximize heating efficiency, which, as you can imagine, is an absolute necessity when you're dealing with harsh Russian winters. Going even deeper inside, the building essentially operates like a self-contained metropolis. You've got high-speed elevators rocketing visitors hundreds of meters into the air in a matter of seconds. They travel through a complex interior that was meticulously designed for maximum comfort, efficiency, and safety. We're talking expansive modern office spaces, high-tech conference facilities, sprawling public areas, restaurants, and of course, some truly breathtaking observation levels. And every single inch of this interior was mapped out using smart building management tech to seamlessly serve the thousands of people working and visiting every single day.
Which leads us to our final takeaway: redefining the Russian skyline.
As you might expect, this tower sits right at the dead center of an ongoing architectural debate. For a lot of supporters, it stands as a celebrated tourist and business hub. They see it as a much-needed symbol of Russian progress, modern innovation, and world-class engineering capabilities. On the flip side, critics continue to debate its effect on the city, viewing it as a pretty dramatic and large-scale disruption to that traditional centuries-old historic horizon. But look, regardless of where you stand on that debate, the undeniable truth here is that the Lakhta Center has permanently transformed the identity of St. Petersburg.
It really brings to mind the quote, "Throughout history, humanity has built monuments to represent its ambitions." Ultimately, the Lakhta Center is just joining a very long, very human tradition of pushing our boundaries. Whether we're talking about the ancient pyramids, magnificent cathedrals, sprawling bridges, or modern skyscrapers, this glass giant challenges what we think our architectural limits actually are. It proves that what once seemed totally impossible, like building a twisting 462-meter tower on a bed of coastal mud, can become a reality.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to ponder. As we engineer new ways to overcome nature, extreme weather, and complex geometry, what limits are we going to challenge tomorrow? As the pursuit of innovation pushes humanity ever higher, what monument will we build next? Thank you so much for exploring the Lakhta Center with me in this explainer, and as always, never stop looking.